Yeah, you saw that title correct. Allergic to bacon. If there was ever a nightmare scenario for the carnivore and meat enthusiast in general, it's that one. There are some odd people who don't particularly care for bacon, and that's fine. I'm odd too. I don't care for eggs, partially because I am actually allergic to the egg whites. And doing an animal-based diet of any kind and not eating eggs on a regular basis, it does make you a little strange, so I understand. But for most of us, we enjoy our bacon. There's a lot of people out there who had to swear off bacon because they didn't get optimal results while eating pork products in general. But allergic to bacon itself, I know that's the stuff of nightmares, and rightly so. Bacon is delicious, at least to most people, to the point where some carnivores, in their quest to have the cleanest carnivore diet possible while still consuming bacon, have gone out of their way to hunt down heritage breed pork products like made from Berkshire pork and other higher quality pasture raised, properly raised pigs, as well as sugar-free varieties of those rare breeds of pork, paying top dollar for it because they love their bacon so much. That's not necessarily what this video is about today. I'm not telling you necessarily that you need to do those things. In fact, these days I lean more and more towards a cheaper version of carnivore simply because of the economy, the fact that my own income is down dramatically this year, like a lot of other people's is. So I'm in the hunt to save money. But we need to talk about the concept of being allergic to pork, because that is a very, very real problem today. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe, by the way, if you like content like this. It is greatly appreciated. So, can someone be allergic to bacon itself? The answer is yes. And there could be 2 or 3 things that is the core of the problem. So let's start with the first one. The first problem could be that you are not actually allergic to bacon itself, that you're actually allergic, unfortunately, to pork in general. See, pork allergy is actually a very real thing, and it's pretty rare, but it is real nonetheless. And some people who are allergic to pork, mildly speaking, have been eating pork their whole lives and not known it because they've also been eating the standard American diet. And so they get all sorts of inflammation with it, or they think these other symptoms are a product of just normal things that most people deal with in their day-to-day lives. It's only when they cut out the carbs and the inflammatory foods in general that they discover that there might be something else going on here. So let's talk about some of these symptoms. If you have a pork allergy, the first of the symptoms that you might have are hives or a pork allergy rash and inflammation of the skin. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? That's a very common thing. Strange rash, strange skin inflammation and tenderness, or hives. If you get hives mysteriously, that's one of the things it could be. The next one could be gastrointestinal symptoms, including nausea, vomiting, and, of course, stomach cramps. Usually when you eat something and have that kind of reaction, that's a big red flag that you ate something you should not be eating. Most of us are aware of that when that happens. If you've ever, by the way, fallen off the wagon from your low-carb or carnivore diet and consumed high-carb, high-sugar treats, then this is a symptom you're familiar with. But you probably put the math together on that when that happened for you in your past and knew that that was a consequence of eating things you shouldn't eat and that you should avoid doing that again in the future. The next symptom is a runny or stuffy nose. Again, this is one that you may have dealt with your whole life, and it's actually something that you've been confused by, thinking you have just hay fever or, the typical spring and fall allergies that most people deal with. It could actually be a pork allergy. Another one is a mild fever when you eat pork. Again, if this is the kind of thing you would probably pick up on after a while. Another one is wheezing or difficulty breathing. Again, you have this reaction after you eat something. This is how people often find out they have relatively mild but still dangerous enough allergies to shellfish and other things like that, is that kind of thing. And of course, in the most severe cases, you might actually have anaphylaxis from eating pork. Those are your general pork allergy symptoms. Now, I said there were 2 or 3 different things this could be. So the second one is you're not allergic to the pork, you're allergic to commercial pork. You're allergic to the junk that a lot of pigs are fed. There's a reason carnivores usually tell you not to eat pork. a lot of people, at least a lot of like the carnivore influencers and a lot of the advocates in general for a stricter carnivore diet all the way down to the lion diet side of things. Tell you to stick to ruminant animals and things of that nature. And one of the reasons is because pork is often fed a bunch of junk. I mean, a lot of pig farmers will just, go to local grocery stores and dumpster dive basically at the grocery store to get basically free food. So whatever's in there, they're feeding to their pigs. And that could include meat that's turned, that could include bakery goods, that could include processed foods. It could include a lot of things. It's a general, you never really know. Plus, animal feed in general is very high in soy and other things that are not, strictly speaking, part of a proper human diet, let alone part of a proper pig diet. That is, of course, a disputed subject, by the way, the idea that all the bad food that they eat gets then stored in their fat, which gets passed on to humans and causes problems. There are plenty of people in this space who dispute that claim. I would take that with possibly with a grain of salt and do your own research and listen to all the voices on it. I personally don't have a problem with eating pork. It's never bothered me. And in fact, it's a money-saving tool that I've been using lately to stay on this dietary path, is to buy leaner cuts of pork and occasionally fattier cuts, because I love fatty pork too, and add it in to my red meat consumption, helping to bring my budget down, my bills down. But for some people, that's not an option, because whatever it is, they can eat organic pork, or they can eat pasture-raised pork, or they can eat locally sourced pork that they know how it was raised. But for whatever reason, the typical grocery store pork, they simply can't. It's a legitimate thing, a legitimate problem many people have. But the third thing it could be, and if you've been watching me a long time, you know that I don't have a problem with nitrates and nitrites and things of that nature. These are the things added to the bacon itself and other pork products like sausage and other processed meats. I don't have a problem with those. In fact, there's some research that I'll save for another video that suggests that, in fact, nitrates and nitrites may have some health benefits after all. The problem is, for some people, that's your third problem, is it could actually be the nitrates and the nitrites that are causing your problem. So here's how we're going to determine if you have a pork problem or not. The first way to see if you actually have a pork problem, if the only pork you're really eating is bacon for the most part, is stop buying the normal cheap grocery store bacon. I know it's expensive. You don't want to hear that, but that's the first way to do it. Instead, I have a video that I made last year. Maybe I'll revisit the subject again on where to find the most affordable sugar-free bacon. Except maybe this time I'll have it be on a topic of where to find the cleanest bacon. If you want that video, let me know. I can do it. I'm getting ready to do another carnivore on a budget video for you anyway. That could be the first thing. Stop with the cheap bacon and go buy like more organic or pasture-raised bacon. And this could include from online sources. This could include from going to Whole Foods, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, those kind of whole food stores if you have to. Although the freezer aisle at Walmart sometimes has the Applegate Farms organic bacon, so check there. It tends to be a little more expensive though, obviously. That'd be the first place to go. The second thing to do, if that doesn't help, go to pick up some of the pasture or the heritage breed, as I hinted before. These are Berkshire pork, which you can get at some of the online retailers and some other places. These are going to be more quote-unquote luxury cuts of pork. They tend to be a little more expensive. In general, any pork of those breeds, Berkshire itself gets closer to a cost of like cheaper beef than pork typically. So it is more expensive. And you can go all the way up to Iberico. When Iberico pigs are fed a diet predominantly of acorns, which is their proper diet. And the meat is delicious, often called the Wagyu of pork. You may try going there. And finally, if that doesn't help, see what happens when you eliminate pork entirely and go to eating just beef. And make sure you're not also consuming chicken or other things, obviously. Probably before this, if you haven't, diagnosing this, if you haven't eliminated the chicken from your diet, try there first. A lot of people, there are actually people with chicken allergies as well. Those are the ways I would tell you to self-diagnose a pork allergy. And if you, of course, have the means, you can go do a full food allergy analysis, blood analysis with your local doctor. They tend to be expensive, though. What other ways do you know of dealing with a pork allergy? What other signs do you think of as a pork allergy? Are you pro eating pork? Or are you anti-pork on a carnivore diet? I'm not a one-size-fits-all thing, so whatever works for you that keeps you on this plan is my general motto on this. To me, it's the most practical advice. Anyway, let me know what you thought of this in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. So does sharing this on social media, that helps too. I'm Anthony Stine, Practical Carnivore. Thanks for tuning in today.